Last time we stopped at this paragraph. To free ourselves from all defilements and suffering, the illusion of selfhood that sustains them has to be dispelled, exploded by the realization of selflessness. This is precisely the task for the development of wisdom. The first step along the path of development is analytical one. In order to operate the field of self, the field of experience has to be laid out in certain sets of factors. Then we methodically investigate to ascertain that none of them singly or in combination can be taken as a self. This analytical treatment of experience is characteristic of the higher reaches of Buddhist philosophical psychology. It's not intended to suggest that experience, like a watch or car, can be reduced to an accidental conglomeration of separable parts. Experience does have an irreducible unity, but this unity is functional rather than substantial. Does not require the postulate of a unifying self separate from the factors, retaining its identity as a constant. This is important. Identity as a constant. There's no such a thing according to Buddhism. Amidst the ceaseless flux. Let's define flux here. Not this flux. The action or process of flowing in and flowing out. I think the third definition would probably fit the most. Continuous change. Always changing, ceaseless flux. The paragraph below, this is just an introduction. The paragraphs to come will expand more what does it mean to about this illusion of self. The first one is about the five aggregates. The method of analysis applied most often is that of the five aggregates of clinging. Pancha Upadana Khanda. Material form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Material form constitutes the material side of existence. The bodily organism with its sense faculties and the outer objects of cognition. This is probably the easiest to understand. Material form is whatever your physical body is. The other four aggregates constitutes the mental side. Feeling provides the affective tone. Perception, the factor of noting and identifying. The mental formations, the volitional and emotive elements. And consciousness, the basic awareness essential to the whole occasion of experience. The analysis by way of the five aggregates paves the way for an attempt to see experience solely in terms of its constituting factors without slipping in implicit references to an unfindable self. To gain this perspective requires the development of intensive mindfulness, now applied to the fourth foundation, the contemplation of the factors of existence, Dhammanupassana. The disciple will dwell contemplating the five aggregates, their arising and their passing. The disciple dwells contemplation in contemplation of phenomena, namely of the five aggregates of clinging. He knows what material form is, how it arises, how it passes away, knows what feeling is, how it arises, how it passes away. Know what perception is, how it arises, how it passes away. Knows what mental formations are, how they arise, how they pass away. The last one knows what consciousness is, how it arises and how it passes away. Let's take a look at footnote number 67. This is the Pali. Yeah. Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda, Sanya Khanda, Sankara Khanda, Vijnana Khanda. The five aggregates. Form, Rupa is form, Vedana is feeling, Sanya is perception, Sankara is mental formation, Vijnana is consciousness. Yeah, and Khanda is aggregates. Okay. The analysis of the five aggregates. So let's take a look at this. Feeling provides the effective tone. We have discussed before, three kinds of feeling: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. And sometimes also translated as neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Perception is the part of mental factor that note and identify. Yeah. The mental formations, yeah, sometimes translated as volitional formation, the volitional and emotive elements. Ajahn Brahmali had preferred another translation called the will as in the willpower. Yeah? So whatever your intention to do something, yeah, that is included in these aggregates. Here, Bhikkhu Bodhi also includes the emotive elements, yeah? The emotion sides. The last one, consciousness, is the basic awareness, essential to the whole occasion of the experience. How to analyze the five aggregates? We see experience solely in terms of its constituting factors, yeah, without putting in any reference of self, without slipping in implicit references to an unfindable self. How specifically? In the sutta, it's here, it mentions, this is from Digha Nikaya 22. We should shift our mindfulness intensively to the fourth foundation: contemplation of the factor of existence with regards to the five aggregates. We contemplate how each of them arises and how each of them passes away. For example, let's say the most obvious one, physical form, our own body. Yeah, the first one. How does our body passes away? Firstly, how does our body arises? Well, if we start from the very beginning, we start from all the way from the womb, yeah, in our mother's womb, grow for 9 months, yeah, and then our mother gave birth to us. That's how the whole thing arises. But let's take a look specifically. Let's say, for example, our hair. Our hair usually grows, yeah? And then when it grows long, sometimes you will see your hair falling down all over the floor. Yeah. So your hair grows, your hair arises, and then at some point it will pass away. Yeah, that's one example. Another way is your skin. This is a little bit tricky. Do you think your skin is always the same, always there? It does seem so, right? But if you read about it, that our skin is usually constantly like releasing like dead skin. Yeah, it's always constantly renewing, so it always recreating a new cells and then shed an old cells. Yeah? So this is how your skin also renewing every day, arises every time, and then passes away as well as the form of dead skin. Yeah, these are some of the examples. Any other examples you can think of? Your tooth, maybe? Yeah. Now I think most of us has an okay tooth, but when you grow older, yeah, probably your tooth will start falling down one by one. Hopefully we don't experience that anytime soon. What are other examples? Nails, yeah, nails and hairs are quite common. It always grow, and then after 1 or 2 weeks, it's becoming too long, then I feel the need to cut it. Yeah? So this is how my nails arises and passes away. These are just some of the examples I can think of regarding to form. Yeah, basically it's the whole. If you think of it in the big picture, it's also the whole body. Yeah, like I mentioned, starting from the womb, it grows 9 months in our mother's womb, and then our mothers gave birth, and then after many years, we grow until we are right now in this form. So this is how we arises. Yeah. But if we take a look at the much bigger picture, in 20 years, in 50 years, will our form still be the same? Eventually, it will pass us away. It will pass away, and we all will eventually, one by one, pass away. This is the biggest picture in terms of material forms. The second one is also about feeling. Yeah, it's also, you can also find examples in day-to-day life, like whatever pleasures you experience, try to contemplate, how long does this pleasure last? Yeah? When I have lunch, have a tasty food, and then after I finish the food, that is the extent of the pleasure that I get. Yeah? After everything goes down, after I swallow, basically the pleasure starts to dissipate inside the mouth. That's how ephemeral our pleasure is. Yeah? Can you feel pleasure all day long, 24 hours, 24/7, all week? Yeah? Yeah, if you know how to, let me know. I want to try it too. Yeah? But usually in terms of pleasure, it is ephemeral. It rises, and then after a while, it passes away. And what I noticed too, the more intense the pleasure is, usually the shorter the duration is. And then you can also apply the thing to the other two. Neutral feeling. Do you always feel neutral 24/7? Not exactly, right? Sometimes you feel even on your hand. Sometimes, most of the time, it feels neutral, but sometimes itches arises. Yeah? When itches arises, it's not neutral anymore. We feel the need to scratch it to relieve the itch. Yeah? So that would be more towards the painful feeling. Yeah. In your meditation, this is usually a good opportunity to notice painful feeling, especially if you meditate long hours and your leg starts to feel, oh, it's so painful, I want to move. That is a good opportunity to contemplate, oh, this is painful feeling. Painful feeling has arises. And then you can start to notice how this painful feeling, it does sometimes it does feels very constant, this feeling. But from what I noticed, this is also my own experience. The painful feeling is like comes in pulses. Like it's not like constantly painful like this, but it's like your heartbeat is one pulse is like painful, and then sudden it's like a contraction. Sometimes it contracts, it's painful, and then sometimes slow down, and then contracts again, painful, and then slows down. Yeah. So even the painful feeling is always like in a flux, a rise and fall, a rise and fall. Yeah. At least this is my experience. It's not exactly that extreme, like, oh, painful and not painful. Painful, not painful. But it's like, very painful. And then moderately painful. And then very painful. And then moderately painful. Yeah. But this is my experience of pain in meditation. So same goes for perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Okay, so far any questions or comments? I think this is enough to digest for the whole day. Yeah. If you read other books, these 5 aggregates will be expanded again, yeah, much further. So because this book is pretty short, it does not really expand on the 5 aggregates. What is each aggregates for? So what we can do, we can try to do our homework and then see what does this 5 aggregates exactly is, yeah, especially the last 3. Perception, mental formations, and consciousness. If no question, I think we can stop here. Let's do a dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have an aggregated day ahead. Aggregated Saturday. Okay, thanks everyone, and see you guys next time.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a good weekend.
You too, Jolene. Bye-bye.